Hello, my name is Lucy Thompson. I'm in the 6th grade at Bishop Vijay School, and this is my first year doing science fair. The title of my project is Which Mouthwash Best Inhibits Bacterial Growth? The purpose of this project was to determine the most effective mouthwash for killing bacteria. The hypothesis stated in this experiment was that the Listerine mouthwash would be the best at inhibiting bacterial growth due to its active ingredients. In this experimental process, I learned that there are two kinds of mouthwash, therapeutic and cosmetic. I learned that therapeutic was used for multiple reasons, such as reducing plaque and reducing halitosis or bad breath. And I learned that cosmetic, which is the second kind, is used for only reducing bad breath and masking it. The independent variable in my experiment was the different brands and kinds of mouthwash. The dependent variable was the bacterial growth, and the controlled was the amount of mouthwash and the bacterial samples. So I used multiple materials in this experiment, so I'm just going to list a few of them. So I used Crespro Health Clinical Mouthwash. I used Crespro Health Advanced Mouthwash. I used Axe Anti-Cavity Mouthwash, and I used Listerine Antiseptic Mouthwash. I also used 5 media plates, which are like agar dishes, but they don't have cow blood. I used sterile swabs, 5 human participants, and I also used 6.53 millimeter discs, which I made from coffee filters. And then I would then bake them to sterilize them. So to get a good idea of how these solutions would perform in this experiment, I'm going to tell you some active ingredients. So for the ACT solution, its active ingredient was sodium fluoride 0.05%. For Crespro Health Advanced, its active ingredient was sodium fluoride 0.2%. For Crespro Health Clinical, its active ingredient was cetylpridinium chloride 0.1%. For Listerine, it had multiple active ingredients, but it was eucalyptyl 0.92%, menthol 0.042%, menthol salicylic 0.6%, and thymol 0.64%. So the way I conducted my experiments was, first I obtained all of my materials. Then I took the tweezers that I would use to dip the discs into the mouthwash, and I soaked them in 91% isopropyl alcohol for 5 minutes. Then I baked the discs that I made from coffee filters at 400 degrees Fahrenheit for 20 minutes to sterilize them. Then I divided each media plate with a Sharpie into 4 quadrants. So I took it and I divided it. I swabbed each person with a sterile swab, swabbing the roof of their mouth, their gums, behind their teeth, and on their tongue. Then I took one disc per dish, or I took 4 discs per dish, and I took 1 into each of the mouthwashes. I dipped 1, and then I put 1 into each quadrant. So in quadrant A, the mouthwash that I used for that one was ACT mouthwash. For quadrant B, it was Crespro Health Advanced mouthwash. For quadrant C, it was Crespro Health Clinical mouthwash. And then for quadrant D, it was Listerine mouthwash. I took pictures every 24 hours, and I recorded the data into my science fair notebook. So the results in trial 1 were, I measured their results with the zone of inhibition. And the zone of inhibition is the ring around the disc where there is no bacteria. So, Crespro Health Clinical, its zone of inhibition was 11 millimeters. Crespro Health Advanced zone of inhibition was 6.5 millimeters. ACT was 8 millimeters. And Listerine was 2 millimeters. In trial 2, Crespro Health Clinical's zone of inhibition was 9 millimeters. Crespro Health Advanced had 4.5 millimeters. ACT had 8 millimeters. And Listerine had 4 millimeters. In trial 3, CRISPR Health Clinical had 15 millimeters. CRISPR Health Advanced had 3 millimeters. ACT had 8 millimeters, and Listerine had 4 millimeters. In trial 4, CRISPR Health Clinical had 9 millimeters. CRISPR Health Advanced had 7 millimeters. ACT had 5 millimeters, and Listerine had 4 millimeters. And the last trial that I did, which was trial 5, CRISPR Health Clinical had 16 millimeters. CRISPR Health Advanced had 5 millimeters. ACT had 6 millimeters, and Listerine had 7 millimeters. In conclusion, for my experiment, the hypothesis stated was incorrect, and it was exactly the opposite. I stated that the Listerine mouthwash would be the best at inhibiting bacterial growth, and it actually, frankly, did the worst. As I said, I learned that there are two kinds of mouthwash, therapeutic and cosmetic. I learned that therapeutic can be used for multiple reasons, where cosmetic is only used for masking halitosis. If I were to do this experiment again, I would purchase pre-made discs, and I would use more mouthwash. The possible errors were that the proportions of me swabbing the media plates was disproportionate. Picture time, the time I took my pictures was taken at the wrong time, and I didn't sterilize the tweezers and the discs long enough. Thank you for your time in judging